Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Good afternoon, or maybe it's good morning where you're calling from, depending on the time. Where is everyone calling from? Be nice to know where everyone is. Maybe just pop it in the chat. Oh, Belgium, very nice. I'm in the UK, so it looks actually quite sunny in my window, but it's not. It's false, the light. So I'm not sure what the weather's like in Belgium at the moment and the rest of Europe. Hopefully, it's nicer than here. A fellow person in the UK. Oh, Plymouth, so down south in the UK. Showing my bad geography now. Well, I can see there's a few more people joining. So, hello everyone and welcome. Obviously, it's very exciting for us at the moment as we are launching our summer 26 campaign for our hotel and destination jobs. For some reason, the other day I actually said 2016 to someone, which I lost 10 years. So if I do say 2016, I am talking about 2026, which I can't quite believe we're already sort of at that time. So yeah, thank you for joining the live stream today. Hopefully it will give you a chance. If you do have any questions, obviously pop them in the chat. I will do my best to obviously answer. If it is obviously something that is more specific to your situation, then it is more generic questions that obviously I'll be able to answer, but anything sort of specific to you, then we can obviously come back to you to answer any questions. So maybe you are interested in working with us in maybe one of our roles, such as a hotel rep or an airport rep, or maybe childcare or an entertainer, a fitness coach, a swim or a football coach, part of our childcare team. We've got lots of roles within sort of our portfolio for hotel and destinations that we offer. Oh, great as well. We've got a travel and tourism lecturer as well watching, so that's really great. Like I said, obviously I will do my best to answer any questions that you have, and obviously support you with finding out more and applying and yeah, about our hotel and destination jobs. I guess firstly, it's quite nice to find out about my journey with TUI. So my name is Charlie and I started with TUI back in 2005 now. I can't quite believe that 20 years ago I was finishing my first summer as a kids rep in Menorca, and I was going away to work in Fuerteventura for the winter. I remember I was going to go away for 6 months. I thought I was going to go and do, but I remember phoning my mum from a payphone in Menorca back in the day, and saying to my mum that I was just having the best time. I loved the job and I wasn't ready to come home. And then that was me overseas for then the next sort of 10 years. So as I said, I started as a kids rep in the business and done a few different seasons, obviously in that role. Summers and winters. I was very lucky to go and join the Crystal team for a winter and get the chance to go and do some skiing and snowboarding as well as a childcare rep, as I had never had that opportunity before. I then as well for a winter was lucky enough to go and work in Finland and meet the big man himself, Father Christmas, which was obviously an amazing opportunity. I then after 4 years as a kids rep decided that I wanted to sidestep within the business. So I went and then done a couple of seasons as a hotel rep and then as a weddings rep. So that really sort of pushed me out of my comfort zone again, and give me new skills and new development, obviously, to grow as a person. And I then went and worked in them roles in different destinations before I was ready then to progress. So I joined our Accelerate program, and then passed that to become a team leader. And then after doing team leader for a couple of years, then done our Accelerate program again to be a team manager. So I think that's what kept me overseas in destination probably for 10 years, was that opportunity to sidestep within the business. And like I said, really grow as a person and push myself out of my sort of comfort zone. So I remember going to hotel rep and having to do welcome meetings for the first time, and being very nervous about public speaking, as it's something I hadn't really ever done. But it gave me them opportunities to really sort of keep pushing myself before I was ready then to progress. So like I said, I thought I was going to go away for 6 months and work in destination, but I absolutely fell in love with the job, with the great people that I met along the way. I've made so many amazing friends. Some people that I'm still in touch with from destination, some people obviously part of my journey and were very important to me at that point, and also growing as a person. I then joined the recruitment team for the first time back in 2013 on a secondment, where I got to meet people about to start their journey. And I realised, because I'd obviously had this passion and really enjoyed my role overseas, then obviously I was getting to be part of other people's journeys as well. And found that I just sort of had a passion in obviously recruitment. And then in 2016, I moved back to the UK fully, as that's where I'm originally from, and joined the recruitment team, and have been lucky enough to work with our hotel and destination roles. So within childcare, within the concept world of fitness and entertainer and swim and football, also our hotel rep roles and our airport roles, and our crystal ski roles as well. So our winter time crystal ski recruitment. So got to do lots of different things. I worked in some amazing destinations, like I said, obviously doing ski seasons and working in Lapland, as well as obviously our beach destinations. So Menorca, Fuerteventura, Tenerife, Lanzarote, Egypt, Cyprus, Halkidiki. Yeah, just to name a few, really, where obviously I got to experience the different places. So that's a little bit about myself. Obviously, like I said, if you do have any questions, feel free, obviously, to ask away. But I guess one of the most important things is, if you're interested to apply, then where do you do that and how do you do that? So you can find all of our jobs on our TUI Careers website. And if you go on there, if you go in the different business areas and go on to hotel and destinations jobs, that is where you will find all of our roles. So you've got different sort of boxes on there, whether it's hotel rep you're interested, whether it's animation roles, or whether you're interested in childcare roles yourself. So you can obviously click on them roles. And then you will find that you can apply, obviously, for the different roles on there. Now, if you can't find the role that you're interested in at the moment, please be patient with us. We have launched today, but we are still uploading roles to the system. So throughout the week, you will find that the roles will obviously come on there. So if you can't find what you're looking for at the moment, keep checking. You can set up job alerts as well, so that once that job is obviously live, then you will get a notification. And also, like I said, our jobs are being launched this week. Today is our go live day. But things do change during the winter, so do keep an eye as well. If there is a role you're interested in and maybe you haven't got the right language requirement at the moment, is a long time obviously before summer starts, and there can be changes. So just keep an eye on the different roles on the website. You will also find on there as well that you have job roles on there for jobs abroad and jobs for local. So, hopefully, to help explain where you would need to apply, where you sort of fit, if you are in your home country, so maybe you're in Belgium or maybe you're in Germany or you're in the UK or Ireland, wherever your home country is, and you are happy to go and work in one of our different destinations and be posted, so you're flexible. So maybe you go through the recruitment process, and at the moment, like I said, you're in the Netherlands and you might end up working in Spain or Greece or Turkey, but you would be obviously flexible to do that. Or maybe you are in one of our destinations, so you're living in Spain or you're living in Greece or you're living in Turkey, and you are interested in what opportunities we have locally. You can find all of them jobs under the local recruitment section. So that's where you would be best to apply. Right, I can see a couple of questions, I think, coming through. So let's have a little look. If we apply now, when will we get an answer? How long is the recruitment process? Great question. So, to apply is really, really easy. Obviously, we spoke about where the jobs are and where potentially is the best place for you to apply. So, once you see the job that you are interested in, then you click on that job and you have the option to apply via our chatbot or via our form. So either option, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Obviously, you've got our great Sunny TUI assistant there if you would prefer, and he will ask you what questions we obviously need to know to get you through the application progress, or maybe you would prefer sort of the traditional format, then you can apply via there. Both will ask the same questions and get you obviously to your application. If your application is then screened and you are successful, you will, for most roles, be invited to our online platform where you will have more information about the role that you've applied for. So you've got different tiles on there to find out more information. Maybe it's videos, maybe it's written content, it might be testimonials, all different things on there to find out more about that job role. And also an online test. So that might be the form of a situational judgment test. So it might be that we give you scenarios about the job role and you obviously answer. Also, we have a personality and motivational test as well to help obviously you find out more about the role and find out obviously where your strengths are and obviously take you through that process. If it's a more practical role, so maybe it's a fitness instructor you're interested or an entertainer, then there might be a video that you need to upload. So it depends on the role, what the process is, but most roles will take you to that online platform. Then, if you're successful through that part, you will then be invited to book in for a virtual interview with our lovely assessment team. So that part can be quite quick. Obviously, it does depend on how quick you apply, and then obviously you complete your online assessment and then obviously book in for an interview. So all of that obviously depends on yourself, on how fast obviously you go through them different stages. Then, if you are obviously successful, it is quite early on in the campaign at the moment. Obviously, we're just starting. So the next step would obviously be find out where you are placed and then to get you contracted. So that might obviously take a little bit longer because we are right at the start. But the actual recruitment process of you going through obviously depends on yourself on how fast you go through them different stages. So hopefully that answers your question. Right, so how does it work for getting a work visa and do TUI provide accommodation? So, as I said, obviously, we do have different ways that we recruit, whether we recruit for our jobs, work abroad, or whether you are already local in your destination. If you are applying from your home country, And obviously, you are flexible to go and work in destination. If you do need a visa, then we will support you through that process, and any visas will be paid for. And you will be provided with accommodation as part of your package. If you are local in destination, obviously it does depend. If you are nearby to your hotel that you're living in, then you won't need accommodation. But it does obviously give you more information on the different job roles. If you are in Spain, maybe living in the mainland, and you have the right to work to live in Spain, but then we post you to go and work in the Canary Islands, then of course we would then potentially be able to offer you accommodation. So it just depends on how you are recruited, whether you're a posted worker or a local worker, if that makes sense. So can I explain the difference between an entertainer and a sports and fitness role? So we have two different types of entertainer when our roles obviously do go live. We have had some teething issues today. So like I said, just be patient with us with the roles. They are coming through, especially for the concept roles at the moment. So for the entertainer, we have either an events and activities host or an entertainment and activities host. They're both for an entertainer role. For the events and activities host, it would be working in one of our adults only concepts. So you would be maybe doing more event style role. So it might be organising a cocktail making class, or maybe you are putting on a theme night. So you're doing that more event style in the hotel. If you apply for the entertainment and activity host, then you'll be working in one of our family hotels. So you would be running the mini discos, and you would be running activities by the poolside and things like that. Maybe doing a quiz, and doing the daytime and the evening entertainment. For the fitness role, you will be delivering our fitness classes. So things that obviously guests will enjoy when they're on holiday, whether that is doing some stretching or yoga, whether it's doing some Zumba, but running obviously that fitness program for the customers. So hopefully that helps explain what the different roles are. So if you are a university student, are there options to work only for the peak summer season, June to September? Now, this really depends on the role and the language requirements. A lot of our roles, we do require the full season. So our summer season starts in April and runs until the end of October. But for some roles, we do have specifically high season roles. So, like swim and football, a lot of the positions are for high season. And for childcare, potentially we have them high season opportunities. And depending, like I said, on different language requirements, we might have them opportunities. So you can see on the job description what we are looking for. But please feel free to apply. Obviously, maybe if we don't have anything at the moment, then we can obviously have you on file if anything does become available. Is it possible to have a 3-month contract? I live in Greece and I'm interested in a hotel rep somewhere in Greece. So usually, like I said, the contracts are for 6 months. Again, language requirements do obviously vary, but usually we do ask you to work for 6 months, starting in April till the end of October. If maybe you can work maybe a late starter, so maybe you can start in May or June or July or August, then we do have late starter positions, but then we would need you to work until the end of October to finish the season. As for UK cabin crew, unfortunately, I don't know the answer to that one. So it's only destination jobs that I am involved with. But I'm sure we can come back to you, obviously, to answer that question for you. Can you choose your destination or preference to be placed? As I have a lot of knowledge in Crete area, traveling there 5 times a year for 20 years. So it does obviously, it does depend a lot on what vacancies we have. So when you go through the recruitment process, of course, we will ask you, if there's anywhere you wouldn't want to work, what would be your, biggest preference, but it would just be a preference. We can't guarantee because, like I said, there's all different positions, there's different language requirements. But of course, that is great to know. And we will, of course, note it down because it would make sense, if you already know a destination very well, then obviously we want you to enjoy it. And we obviously want to use that, if you've already got that knowledge, but it's not guaranteed. It does depend. If you are coming through and you are applying as a work abroad, so someone from your home country, and that means that you are flexible, and it will depend on where we have positions on where we will place you. So again, obviously the next question was, do you get to choose where you work or is it random? So yeah, I think that I've just answered. It's not so random. It is more strategic on what requirements we need for the different destinations. So maybe we need someone who speaks German in one resort, or maybe we need someone who can speak Dutch in another resort, whether you can drive. So all different things obviously determine what vacancies we already have. Obviously we have our returners coming back, so there's a lot of things that go into the planning and obviously the placing of the team. Do you need qualifications? So that will depend on what role you are applying for. So for roles like hotel rep, then we don't require any qualifications from yourself. Obviously experience with customer service, with sales. If you are applying for entertainer, then again, there isn't a formal qualification that you would need. But again, that experience of obviously hosting, being confident on the microphone, being confident to PR with the guests. For fitness, we have different options. So if you already have a fitness qualification, then absolutely fantastic. If you do not, then we can do our in-house program with you. So you will need to be able to attend our training to get you on the right fitness programs, obviously for the role. The same for childcare. We have different options. So we have qualified positions and unqualified positions. So if you are qualified, then amazing. If you're not qualified yet in childcare, then we do have some positions for unqualified childcare. So we look for people that have got experience in childcare, and then you can do the in-house program. For swim and football, at the moment, you do already need that qualification to come and do the role as a swimming teacher or a football coach. So can I have a private room? No roommates. So as I already said, if obviously with your contract and your package you do get accommodation, then you will be guaranteed your own bedroom. So you might share, it does depend on where you are placed. So you might live in an apartment where you might share the living area, your kitchen, but you will be guaranteed to have your own bedroom. Or maybe you might live in a hotel where you have your own hotel room, but you are guaranteed to have your own bedroom. The only exception to that rule is if you are interested in crystal ski, maybe you want to go and do a winter working in ski where it is shared accommodation. So as I already said about the qualifications in childcare, if you have not got qualifications in childcare but you have experience, then you potentially can still apply. We do have some positions still at the moment. They usually do go quite fast, so make sure you do apply early on, and you can have the opportunity to do your qualification in childcare in-house with TUI. And that is pretty similar to my story. When I first started, I had worked in childcare settings but didn't have any formal childcare qualification. I done the in-house program when I was obviously alongside doing the job role. If you do have childcare qualifications, then of course that is very desirable. But if you don't, then potentially there is still positions for you. So if I'm in Belgium and I go to work in Spain, for example, will I get a Spanish contract? Do European countries have agreements when it comes to taxes so we avoid paying taxes in two different countries? Of course. So all of that is taken care from our contracting HR team on how you are contracted. So it does depend on where you're placed, on what entity you are employed through. So don't worry about that. You won't be paying tax in two different countries. We will obviously get you contracted and take care of that. So when do applications for entertainers open? They should be opening today. We have had a little glitch on the system at the moment. So hopefully by tomorrow, them roles will be live. So just keep an eye. Like I said, they should be there tomorrow. If they're not, then obviously check Friday. But through this week, that is all of our roles opening for hotel rep, for concept roles, so entertainer, swim, football, childcare roles as well. Okay, so I see someone's got an individual scenario, so we will come back to you about your scenario. Sorry that no one's come back to you, so we just need to check what that is, obviously individually. Yes. So is it okay to ask about salary? Is it different depending on the country? Of course, you can ask about salary. I won't pretend that I know all the different salaries off the top of my head, especially as they've just been updated. But you will find all of our salaries on our job description. If you are coming in as a posted worker, so you're applying from a home country, then the salary will be the same depending on the role. Obviously, if you are already qualified in roles, will determine um, on the different salaries. If you are applying for a local position, then again, the salary will be on the job description. So you will be able to find the salary there. So having a British passport does TUI provide a working visa for British passport holders to work in countries such as Spain and Greece. Um, yeah, great question. Obviously, it things changed obviously a few years ago for having a UK passport after Brexit. And we will support you and obviously pay for visas depending on the country and if we can obviously get visas for that particular country, and it will depend on what positions we have available as well. Can you apply for several roles such as entertainer and childcare host? So, great, and that really all of these questions are so great. No, you don't need to apply for every role. I would say the best thing to do is look at the role that you are most interested in and apply for that role. When you have your one to one interview, you can talk to the assessor and say, look, I've applied for entertainer, but I'm also interested in childcare, or I'm also interested in fitness. And we can obviously look at you for that potential different role as well. So, hi, may I ask a question? Is it better to go to an open day or just online application on TUI Careers website will be enough for being a rep in a hotel? It's completely up to you and your situation. We do have open days in some of our different destinations. So, if that is easy and local for you, then and you would prefer to obviously see someone face to face, then we've got them options and you can find out more about the role. If you are happy to do an online application, then you will go to the TUI Careers website, as we've already spoken about, apply online, And then you will go through the same process, but your interview will be virtual with one of the assessment team. So I've just seen my colleagues just obviously posted. So if you do have any individual questions about your own situations, then you've got an email where you can obviously apply, where you can email in, and we can obviously come back to you about them situations, obviously separately. So I think I've answered all of the questions. If I've not answered your question, I've missed it, then please feel free to obviously send it in. And yeah, as my colleague has just said, we will be wrapping up soon. So last chance, obviously, if there are any questions. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I did jot down some sort of bits, but I think I have covered most with all of your questions. Um, Maybe just to sort of finish off then, if there isn't any questions. Okay, we've got this question, and then I'll go on to sort of a top tip for replying. So can you apply to go with a friend? So can you work together? So again, as I said, for requests, you can all applications are individual, but you can obviously, again, as we said at the interview, obviously request, but we can't guarantee. Obviously, there is a lot of different factors that go into the placements that we have available, so we wouldn't be able to guarantee that you would be placed with your friend. So, oh God, another great question actually about, do we have the chance to work for 12 months? So, as I already said, the season usually starts in April and runs till the end of October for most roles. If you would like to work over the winter, then we do have internal opportunities. So maybe you would fancy working in our Crystal Ski, so working in and doing a ski or snowboarding season for the winter, maybe working in the Canaries, maybe working in long haul. So we do have some opportunities if you do want to work over the winter, and they will go internally first to our internal population. If you don't want to, you want to do the summer and then maybe go and do some traveling, or you want to go back to your home country, or you want to go and do something else for the winter, then you can obviously have that time off and then come back for the following season and for following summer. And you can do that obviously for as long as you want to. So how long can we expect to wait for a reply after applying? So we do aim to obviously get back to you as quick as possible. Usually we say up to 3 days. But yeah, we are usually quite fast. We say 3 days, obviously, at the weekend. If you apply on a Friday, then you might not hear from us until the Monday. But as I said, obviously, your application can move as fast as obviously you proceed with the next step as well. So getting your online situational judgment test done, or getting your video interview done, whatever it is on your application. Obviously, the faster you go with them steps, obviously, the faster we can go from our side as well. Okay, so I think that's all the questions. So, how do further opportunities usually look like after a few successful seasons as a rep? So, everyone's journey is different. Um, and obviously it's your own journey. Some people obviously want to come away and do one summer. Maybe you want to come away and you do want to have a career. Maybe you want to sidestep and do other roles. Maybe you want to go and do other things within the business. So, everyone's journey obviously is very different. If you do want to progress, then as I mentioned earlier, then we do have an in-house accelerate program. So maybe you want to step up to team leader after doing a couple of seasons, or maybe you want to step up to team manager. So we'll obviously give you the tools, as long as obviously you're displaying the correct skills and qualities to obviously progress within the business. Okay, so Just a final thing from myself, obviously, before we wrap up. So best of luck, obviously, with your applications and interviews. Like I said, I can't quite believe we are going into summer 26 and thinking about that. But just obviously, my biggest top tip is to be yourself. We know, obviously, on this side, when we're interviewing and you're going through the assessment process, how nerve wracking it is. We've all been there. We want you to do well. So just try and relax, be yourself as much as possible, and enjoy the process as much as possible. You know, we need all different types of personalities. We have all different types of roles, as we've spoken about, all different types of hotels that you can work in. So yeah, just be yourself, and best of luck. Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining. Those of you that have had questions about cabin crew pilots, then we will have to come back to you separately, obviously, on them, because this is all about hotel and destination jobs. So, best of luck, everyone, and thank you for joining me this afternoon.